The confession that shook a nation. Before we begin this story, hit that subscribe button, because after tonight, you'll never look at a confession the same way again. It was the evening of March 3, 2011, when millions across the United States tuned into the live broadcast of The Truth Hour, a nationally syndicated talk show known for one thing: forcing the truth out of liars. What started as a heated debate segment that night would end in one of the most chilling live confessions ever seen on television. Sitting under the bright lights of the studio was Ethan Rowe, a soft-spoken, 32-year-old mechanic from a small town in Illinois. He looked calm, too calm. Opposite him sat Detective Lena Marshall, who had worked on the case that had gripped the country for the last 6 months, the Pine Lake murder. A woman named Chloe Winters, a young nurse, had been found dead in her lakeside cabin. The case was messy: a broken window, no signs of forced entry, and a trail of blood that stopped right at the edge of the dock. For half a year, no suspect, no weapon, no closure. Until Ethan called the show producers himself, saying only, "I have something to confess, and I'll do it live." The studio audience was silent as he leaned toward the microphone. The host, visibly nervous, asked, "Ethan, what do you mean by confess?" Ethan's eyes flicked to the camera. "I killed her," he said. Gasps filled the studio. The host froze. The detective across from him stiffened, her fingers twitching toward the notepad in front of her. Ethan continued, voice trembling but steady. "It wasn't supposed to happen. I just wanted her to listen." She screamed. I panicked. It was quick. For the next 7 minutes, Ethan described details of the crime scene that only investigators had known. The knot on the curtain cord, the chipped mug beside the sink, the missing left shoe. His accuracy was haunting, and yet, something about it didn't add up. After the show, Ethan was immediately taken into custody. He didn't resist. In fact, he almost looked relieved. "Now everyone can stop looking," he whispered to the arresting officer. But behind the one-way glass at the precinct, Detective Marshall felt something was off. She'd been at the crime scene herself. Chloe Winters' body had been discovered near the waterline, not inside, as Ethan described. And the curtain cord he mentioned? That detail had been leaked online 2 weeks prior. Was Ethan confessing to something he didn't do? The more she studied his expression, the more uneasy she became. He looked exhausted but not guilty. His eyes were red, not from crying but from sleeplessness. When she asked why he confessed, he said, "Because I couldn't take it anymore. Everyone already thinks I did it." Marshall decided to review the case from the beginning. Chloe Winters had been last seen alive at a community event, a fundraiser for the local hospital, where Ethan had also been spotted, working as a volunteer mechanic at the parking lot. There were hundreds of witnesses. No one saw them leave together. Yet, somehow Ethan knew things. Things the press hadn't reported. 2 nights later, while combing through Chloe's old messages, Detective Marshall stumbled upon something that made her freeze. A string of anonymous emails Chloe had received weeks before her death. They were all signed with the same phrase: "The audience is watching." The same line Ethan had muttered just before his televised confession. Marshall's blood ran cold. Either he really was the killer, or someone had been pulling his strings the entire time. She went back to question Ethan. He was pale, anxious. When she asked him about the emails, his voice cracked. "You think I don't know about those? He sent them to me said if I didn't tell the truth, he'd make sure I did." "Who's he?" Marshall demanded. Ethan looked up, terrified. "The producer. The man behind the show. He said it would make good television." The next morning, Detective Marshall arrived at the Truth Hour studio unannounced. The host, Greg Fallon, greeted her with his trademark smirk, but behind it was unease. When she asked to see the episode's raw footage, he hesitated, just long enough to make her suspicious. When she finally got access to the video servers, she found something horrifying. One of the backstage cameras, the one facing the hallway near the dressing rooms, had been deleted. Only a few seconds of static remained, followed by a single, chilling frame. A man in a dark suit, standing outside Ethan's room, smiling directly at the camera. Marshall printed the frame and set it on the table before Ethan during her next visit. His face went white. "That's him," he whispered. That's the man who told me to confess." And as the detective stared at the image, she realized something that made her stomach twist. She'd seen that same man before, standing in the background of the live broadcast, clapping as the cameras faded to black. The broadcast within the broadcast. The day after Ethan Rowe's live confession, the Truth Hour episode hit 20 million views online. Every news outlet replayed the clip, dissecting his trembling voice and dead-eyed stare. To the public, it was a clear-cut case, a guilty man cracking under pressure. But Detective Lena Marshall wasn't buying it. There was something off, something she couldn't shake. At 2:13 a.m., Marshall sat alone in her office, rewatching the raw studio feed frame by frame. She zoomed in on the moment Ethan looked at the camera right before he confessed. His lips had moved, not in sync with his words. It was like he was reading something. Marshall rewound, played it again, slowed it down. And there it was, just a flicker, a faint red light reflecting in Ethan's eyes from a teleprompter across the studio stage. Someone had fed him the confession in real time. Her stomach tightened. She picked up her phone and called the studio technician listed in the production notes. He didn't answer. She called again. Still nothing. At 6 a.m., she got a text back with just 2 words. "Don't call again." By sunrise, Marshall was already at the Truth Hour building. It looked different now, hollow, like a crime scene disguised as a media empire. She flashed her badge at security and walked straight to the editing suite. Inside, she found Jamie Weller, one of the assistant editors, nervously chain-smoking beside a stack of hard drives. The moment he saw her badge, he froze. "I didn't touch anything," he blurted. "I believe you," Marshall said calmly, closing the door behind her. "I just need to know who was in charge of the live feed last Thursday." Jamie swallowed hard. It wasn't supposed to air like that. Fallon wanted drama, but that man? What man? Jamie's hand trembled as he pointed to the security office. He wasn't on staff, wore a visitor badge, said he was part of legal review, but he was the one typing on the teleprompter. Marshall's pulse quickened. "Do you have footage?" He nodded toward a drive. "They told me to erase it. I didn't." Within minutes, she plugged the drive into her laptop. The screen flickered, then revealed grainy black and white footage of the control room during the live broadcast. Fallon was visible on one side, headset on, barking directions, but in the corner of the room, partially hidden behind monitors, was a tall man in a gray suit. He typed rapidly on a laptop, glancing up only to watch Ethan on stage. Every time Ethan hesitated, the man would nod slightly, a signal. Marshall froze the frame and zoomed in. The reflection of the man's face appeared on the glass wall beside him. The same man from the deleted hallway footage. Whoever he was, he hadn't just manipulated the show, he'd orchestrated the confession. That afternoon, Marshall brought her findings to the state's attorney's office. But instead of relief, she met silence. The prosecutor, Alan Tripp, folded his hands and said carefully, "Detective, this case has already been closed by public confession. Reopening it could cause serious damage to the department, the show, even you." Marshall's eyes narrowed. "So you're saying we let a man rot for a crime he didn't commit because it's convenient?" Tripp sighed. "I'm saying the people want closure, and that's what they got." By evening, Ethan Rowe's mugshot was plastered on every network. The talk show was rebranded as a landmark in modern justice. Fallon basked in the attention. But in a corner of the internet, something strange started happening. Anonymous users began uploading alternate camera angles from the show, shots no one had ever seen. Some were from audience members' phones. Others looked like internal feeds. And in one of them, during the live confession, you could see the studio audience. Everyone was watching Ethan, except one man in the third row, wearing a dark suit and an earpiece. He wasn't watching Ethan. He was staring directly into the broadcast camera. A username appeared beneath the video at the audience is watching, the same phrase from the emails tied to Chloe Winter's murder months earlier. Marshall felt a chill crawl up her spine. The thread beneath the video was full of cryptic comments. "You watched it too." He confessed, but not to the right thing. "Wait until the next show." That night, Marshall drove to the county jail to see Ethan. She found him sitting in the visiting room, eyes bloodshot, shaking. "They're going to kill me," he whispered. "Who?" He looked up, voice trembling. "The same people who made me say it. They said if I didn't do it on air, my sister would be next." Marshall's heart pounded. "Where's your sister now?" "Gone. I can't reach her." Before she could respond, a guard opened the door and announced visitation was over. As she left the jail, her phone buzzed with a new text, an unknown number. "You shouldn't have gone to the studio, detective." Attached was a still image from a CCTV camera, her walking into the Truth Hour building that morning. They were watching her too. Back at her car, Marshall replayed Ethan's words over and over in her head. The more she thought about them, the clearer it became. The murder, the confession, the show, all of it was a performance. Someone was directing every move, every angle, every line. But who? As she started her car, she noticed something in the reflection of her rearview mirror, a dark sedan parked 2 blocks behind her, headlights off. For 10 minutes, it followed, then vanished. When she reached her home and unlocked the door, there was an envelope on the floor, slid under the crack. Inside was a single piece of paper, typed in clean black ink. "We'll be watching you next Thursday. Live." Marshall stared at it, her pulse pounding in her ears. Next Thursday was the date of the Truth Hour's next broadcast. And this time, she realized, she wouldn't just be watching it. She'd be in it. The broadcast trap. The next Thursday arrived like a countdown to disaster. By noon, the entire Truth Hour studio was buzzing. Cameras were checked, lights calibrated, guests prepped. But Detective Lena Marshall wasn't there to watch this time. She was there to end it. She had spent the past 6 days preparing for what she knew was coming. Every email, every call, every lead pointed to one conclusion. The show wasn't just entertainment, it was orchestrated manipulation, built around real crimes and real victims. Someone behind the scenes was feeding them stories, forcing confessions, and broadcasting them to millions. The phrase, "the audience is watching," wasn't a threat. It was a brand. Marshall entered the building under a press alias, wearing a small camera embedded in her blazer. The FBI was already on standby, monitoring the live feeds from an unmarked van across the street. Tonight's episode, according to the promo, would be a shocking return to the case that gripped America. The teaser showed blurred clips of Ethan Rowe's confession, and a voiceover promised a revelation that changes everything. The host, Greg Fallon, walked on stage as the countdown hit 0. "Good evening, America," he began smoothly. "Tonight, we revisit a story that began right here in this very studio, when a man confessed to a crime he said he couldn't live with. But what if the truth isn't what it seems?" Behind the cameras, Marshall's eyes darted between monitors. She recognized the control room operators, all except one. A tall man in a gray suit, half his face hidden by the glow of multiple screens. The same man who had appeared in the deleted footage. She whispered into her earpiece. "Target confirmed. Gray suit, back corner, feeding teleprompter." The FBI's voice crackled through. "We see him. Wait for the cue." Fallon's voice continued, steady and dramatic. "Ethan Rowe remains in custody, serving life without parole. But tonight, we have exclusive new evidence, provided by an anonymous source." The studio lights dimmed. On the big screen behind him, a live video began to play, grainy, black and white, like old CCTV footage. It showed the interior of a dark warehouse. A man was tied to a chair, blood on his shirt, trembling under harsh light. Marshall's stomach dropped. She knew that face. Ethan Rowe. Fallon turned dramatically toward the screen. "Ethan contacted us this morning. He said he wants to take back everything." But Marshall knew Ethan was still in jail. She'd verified it herself, or at least she thought she had. She whispered again. "That feed, is it live?" "Negative," replied the tech in her ear. "We traced the signal. It's pre-recorded. Source unknown." The man in the gray suit glanced toward Fallon, giving him a subtle nod. Fallon smiled at the camera. "America, what you're about to see has never been shown before." The footage zoomed in on Ethan's terrified face. Then his voice trembling, "They made me say it. I didn't kill her. But she's not who you think she is. Suddenly, the video cut to static. The studio lights flickered. On the monitors in the control room, every feed switched, showing live shots of the Truth Hour audience, the host, and even Detective Marshall herself, watching from backstage. Then a voice echoed from the speakers, distorted, mechanical. "Good evening, Detective Marshall. You've been watching the wrong show." Marshall froze. The voice continued. "You think this was about Ethan Rowe? This was about you." The audience murmured, confused. Fallon looked panicked for the first time. "Cut the feed," he barked at the crew. The man in the gray suit didn't move. His fingers danced over the keyboard. Every attempt to kill the broadcast failed. "Detective Marshall," the voice said again, "you wanted the truth. Here it is." The screen behind Fallon lit up once more, showing security footage from the police evidence room. A shadowy figure placing a silver earring into a plastic bag labeled Exhibit A, Winter's case. Marshall's blood ran cold. That was the same piece of evidence that linked Ethan Rowe to the murder, the earring found in his trailer. But the footage showed someone else planting it. The camera zoomed in. It was Alan Tripp, the state's attorney. The audience gasped. Fallon turned pale. And then the voice returned. He wasn't the only one. The case, the show, the confession, all of it built for ratings, built for control. Every word, every cut, every crime was staged for you. As security officers rushed the stage, the lights went out completely. For a full 10 seconds, darkness. Then, a gunshot. Screams erupted. When the emergency lights came on, Fallon was on the floor, blood seeping through his jacket. The man in the gray suit was gone. Marshall ran toward the control room, flashlight in hand. Monitors crackled, feeds blinking out one by one. Then she noticed a final open window on one screen, a live video feed from a camera facing her directly. Someone was recording her from inside the building. She sprinted to the hallway. Every door was locked except one, Fallon's office. Inside, the smell of smoke and ozone filled the air. On the desk, a single VHS tape sat labeled, Detective Marshall's confession. Her phone buzzed. A text. "You wanted the truth. Now it's your turn." Outside, sirens wailed as FBI agents stormed the building. But when they reached the control room, the system was already wiped. No trace of the gray-suited man. No signal from the feed. Just one sentence left behind on every monitor. The next episode airs soon. 2 days later, the Truth Hour network announced it was shutting down temporarily for investigation. Fallon was declared dead at the scene. The state attorney resigned. Ethan Rowe's conviction was overturned, but he refused release, saying, "They'll just find someone else." As for Detective Marshall, she went dark. No press. No interviews. No trace. Until 6 months later, when a new video appeared on a fresh channel. It opened with static, then a grainy image of a police interrogation room. Marshall sat alone under the harsh light, staring directly at the camera. "They were right," she said softly. "It was never about the confession. It was about control." The screen glitched, then faded to black. A new phrase appeared, white letters on blue static. And just before the feed ended, a faint reflection appeared in the static. A man in a gray suit, standing behind her.